Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God, who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter but of the Spirit, for the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. 2 Corinthians 3:5-6. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves. This is no admission of lack, but the unveiling of our true sufficiency, the living Spirit within. We are made able ministers of the New Testament, not by memorizing a letter that kills, but by awakening the word that gives life. The letter binds you to form and fear. The Spirit is the resurrection power that turns the felled tree upright. When you enter your own Jerusalem, you find the gates closed to that outer way. There is no door here. The entrance lies in a spiral up the water shaft of your own being. As you cleave to the living word, the inner walls fall away. The body is split in two. The golden fluid of consciousness rises, and you walk as a tree of life, your branches reaching the heavens. This sufficiency of God is not a borrowed garment, but the garment of light you already wear. When you pledge to redeem the monstrous shape you have unwittingly built by every fearful act, that shape dissolves before your eyes, its energy returning to you. In that power you animate all things with love. You become the minister of Spirit, fulfilling every promise of Scripture not by rule or creed, but by the creative act of your imagination. The letter may tell you who you are, but the Spirit shows it. Men walking as trees, shining, bearing fruit for all nations. The word within you cannot return void. It prospers in you, rebuilding heaven on earth. You are sufficient of God. Your inner Jerusalem descends, a bride adorned in light, and the Spirit gives life. When we hear the words, "Not that we are sufficient of ourselves," we feel the hollow echo of lack that arises whenever we place our faith in the ego and its external rules, what Neville called the letter. In that moment, we become aware of how identifying with outer structures leaves us feeling incomplete. Then the passage turns and gently invites us into a new realization. Our sufficiency is of God. These words point us inward, toward the ever-present realm of Spirit, our creative imagination, where true power and wholeness reside. In awakening to this inner state, we discover that every genuine resource we seek already dwells within the divine consciousness of our own being. In exploring the metaphysical mechanics, we begin by recognizing that the letter stands for those thoughts bound by past experience, rigid ideas, and judgments that quietly extinguish our creative power by reinforcing limitation. Yet alongside this inert script, there dwells the Spirit, the living word within your mind, and here every scene you imagine with conviction and feeling becomes a seed destined to germinate in your world. As you cultivate awareness of this inner dynamic, you learn to shift your attention away from the old script of what is, those memories and opinions that keep you tethered, and instead dwell in the inner reality of what shall be. By consenting to live in the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you allow the seed already planted to take root, grow, and blossom into the manifestation you seek. Thus, through a gentle but deliberate movement of attention from the letter bound by limitation into the Spirit alive with possibility, you align yourself with the creative power that brings your dreams into being. As you awaken to the true empowerment key, you begin to recognize that within you rests the sufficiency of God embodied in your very faculty of imagination. When you honor this gift, imagination transforms into a living altar, a sacred inner space where you offer up your ideal not as a distant hope, but as if it has already been accomplished. In that simple yet profound act of faith, you step into the role of a minister of the new covenant, co-creating in harmony with Spirit and shaping your reality from the inside out. To build this practical bridge, begin by identifying the change you desire and condensing it into a short, sensory-rich mental scene. Settle into a relaxed state, then enter that scene as if it were already real, hear its sounds, see its colors, and feel the joy or relief that comes with it. Return to this immersive practice each day until the Spirit gives life to your vision, until your inner conviction becomes so vivid that it overrides the old letter of doubt. As you sustain this living assumption within, you will notice outer events aligning in harmony with your inner word. New people, fresh ideas, and unexpected opportunities will naturally rise to meet you. By trading memorized rules for a living, felt assumption of your goal, you activate the same divine principle that makes us able ministers of creation. In this active posture, you no longer remain a passive observer. You step fully into your true office as thinker and shaper of your world, where spirit truly gives life.